Brad, you guys had to gut this one out, especially on the defensive end, because they made that run in the second half. Just talk about what you guys did defensively to halt that run by them.
First, praise my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. The biggest thing is we know B.I. is an engine to that team, and him and C.J. And we had to try to slow them down as much as possible. I think we did a good job. Cruz did an awesome job on B.I. to start the game. We did a good job on C.J. just contesting their shots, making it tough on them. And we did a good job. We knew that they were kind of in a funk coming in. They lost 4 or 5 in a row, 6 in a row, I think, or whatever it was. But we came in, displayed our style of game, continue to build up our momentum.
Now, I'm picking up on Bradley Beal assessing himself tonight after games, but you hit 2 big shots to give you guys a little bit more momentum and a little bit of a cushion. What did you see out there offensively? Since you've returned, you've kind of just found your way and where you can have an impact on this team.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been the whole year. You know, it's everybody's kind of like, well, I'm not scoring crazy numbers. I don't have to. You know, our team doesn't require that all the time. You know, we're a really good, diverse team. We have a lot of guys who can put the ball on the floor, who can create, who can score the ball. You know, so that helps me grow other parts of my game. And ever since I got back, it's just kind of, I obviously don't want to go crazy with the hamstring, but at the same time, it's just finding a way, finding the game, let it come to me. That's kind of how I've always played. And I know my time is in the fourth to be aggressive, and the team always just let me go do me.
Congrats on the win. Get some rest because you got San Antonio coming up soon.
We need one. We haven't beat them in a long time.
I didn't want to say it, but Brad
Brad
did.
said it. Hey, we might as well talk about it then. Let's
Bradley
talk about
Beal
it.
scored 9 straight points to really get the separation into this game, Drew, as the Wizards win 113 to 103.
Wizards post-game live.
Washington down in the Bayou taking on the Pelicans, and this is one of those games where you have to see it to believe it. Daniel Gafford going off for 21 points. Kyle Kuzma gives you 10 and 9, almost a double-double. But it was a team effort tonight. We got so many people that contributed, all 5 Wizard starters in double figures. 2 of them off the bench, could have been 4. Final score is 113 to 103. Welcome to Wizards Post-Game Live after a big dub. Christy Winter-Scott, along with Wes Hall, will be joined by Chris, Drew, and Megan here momentarily. Christy, what's better than 4 in a row?
5 of them.
And this is the second time that has happened, most importantly against a strong New Orleans Pelican team. They're 4th in the West right now. Washington needed this win. What is your thoughts about what we saw?
Well, first of all, Wes, it was balanced scoring by Washington. They were phenomenal in terms of sharing the basketball and taking good care of the basketball, especially in the second half. Only 3 turnovers in the second half. That helped them manufacture the offense that they needed. They had 25 second chance points. The Pelicans, only 11 second chance points. So they were pounding the offensive glass. They were getting second and third chance opportunities. But most importantly, they were attacking the paint and finishing in the lane. They had 50 paint points tonight. You said it. 5 starters in double-figure scoring, and it was solid. They were efficient with how they were getting it. You heard Bradley Beal tell Megan McPeak, I don't need to score an enormous amount of points. I can do other things on the court well, but what he did well down the stretch was scored 9 consecutive points for the Wizards, helped them close the door on the Pelicans on the road, but they also made 11 free throws straight to finish the game and continue to keep that door locked and shut. But Daniel Gafford, listen, you had a phenomenal game, and they needed every bit of what he did on both sides of the floor. He was aggressive. He was smart with his choices. He was following up the shots that weren't falling for Washington, and that's why I was saying the 25-11 mark on the second chance points, that was a big difference in this game, but it all had to do with Daniel Gafford's motor. He just stayed on neon green. Like, there was no hesitation.
None.
There was no yellow light for Daniel Gafford. They found him early. They found him often. And that dunk that he had early on, the lob by Beal. Listen, we need to do that with him when we get back down there. If Megan wants to do it, if there's an amusement park line so we could throw Gaff a lob pregame, I'm down for that. But
I'm down.
Just a phenomenal effort overall by the team. But most importantly, the way they closed the game, I thought was excellent.
I want to give Daniel Gafford his flowers because it's not often you see a guy have a 14-point first half the way that he did. Stayed out of foul trouble.
Yes.
Christy, which of these 3 stats do you find most impressive for Daniel Gafford? So you got the 21 points.
Right, love it.
Or about the 12 rebounds. Or
I like it.
The 5 blocks.
You know what I'm going to say.
I don't. That's why I asked the question. I
The
just asked the
5
question.
blocks, honey.
There you
the
go.
5 blocks.
Yeah.
Because, listen, he stayed out of foul trouble, right? He knows that Kristaps Porzingis isn't in there to help shore up the interior defense, so he stayed aggressive.
And no Anthony Gill is back
And
up
no
either.
Anthony Gill either. But he stayed aggressive with his blocks. Look at this one. Get that thing
off the
all
board.
the way out. Beat it up. Like,
Those
we
are the best
love to see it. Hey, rent was due 5 times for Daniel Gafford inside, and he made them pay. Every time they tested him in there, he passed the test. He was right there to clean everything up inside, and that's what you want from Daniel Gafford. His presence on the floor is unmatched. It is unmeasured. And with him on the court defensively, playing smart like that, staying on the court, they need that night in and night out. And it's 21 points. That's just a cherry on top for me. Like, yeah, he did well, right, in terms of his scoring ability, but the 12 boards can't match that. That's his motor again, right, folks? Okay? And then the 5 blocks, phenomenal. Clean blocks. No body contact. Kept the principle of verticality there, but he was just outstanding stopper on the defensive end. And defense is also rebounding. So those 12 boards, those count. And he was also, like I said, on the offensive boards as well. So he did a phenomenal job in there. Just overall solid game.
Shout out to the landlord. Today's the 28th, so he's collecting February's rent now. He's not even going to wait till then. But I want to bring in Chris and Drew and get their thoughts on it. So many different guys I want to point out. But Chris and Drew, the floor is yours. What were you most impressed by today, Drew, about this win down in the Bayou?
I would say the 5 doors that Daniel Gafford knocked off and collected that rent.
Give me your rent. Give me
I'm just going to add on to what y'all been talking about, man. He was phenomenal. It looked a lot, I think I say a lot more powerful in live action probably than on TV, but he was phenomenal, exceptional. I mean, I don't even know the word to use, but he was that and more. The energy level was second to none. And when Valanciunas went out, that was just, he just had his eyes on the prize, and he definitely took advantage of that.
For your 2 best players to go 9 for 30 and you win by 10 on the road against a very good Pelicans team, what does that say about this Washington Wizards team? It says that your best player or best 2 players don't have to be Superman. If you have balanced scoring and you let Denny Avdia, DeLon Wright, Kendrick Nunn, Taj Gibson, all the guys that were called on to come off the bench, they gave you 44 points, but it wasn't just the scoring. It was just the physicality tonight. They're like, this was a street fight. And I like the Wizards was like, we want all the smoke in the Crescent City. We've talked about Gafford, but the fact that you're able to get 4 guys to come off the bench and give Wes Unseld Jr. 5 guys come off the bench and give him that type of production is the reason why the Wizards have won 5 in a row.
Chris, looking at those 4 guys that you mentioned off the bench, whether it's Denny, DeLon, Kendrick, or Taj, who do you think is most impressive of those 4?
It's Denny for me. I said it during the broadcast, Wes, and I'll say it again. He's growing up in front of our eyes. There was a reason why the Wizards brass has articulated to the fan base why they traded Rui Hachimura. And what they said was we want to give Denny Avdia more opportunities. Well, all I know, Drew, is in the 2 games in which they've made that declaration, Denny has gone out here and has elevated his game from an offensive standpoint, rebounding the basketball, and defensively constantly taking the assignment.